Hello everyone, Krydex here. Welcome back to our Nullius playthrough. In our last episode, we fixed up quite a few things. We have infinite aluminum going, along with lots of residual gas, sludge, wastewater, carbon dioxide. We even have some carbon monoxide. So all the byproducts of various things are building up that we can use. And then yeah, I mean, our mall is still working effectively. We've got 500 bots running. I don't even really know what they're all doing. It looks like most of them are delivering to Purple Science, actually. So I could save quite a bit of bot usage if they weren't running to Purple Science. But that's okay. I don't mind. The power usage is pretty low, 6 megawatts plus another 3, so 9 megawatts. It's a decent amount of power, but dealing with the belt spaghetti would be worse, I think. So I'm not going to worry about that. I am curious, when do I get pipe 3s? So this pipe 3, it sure is fiberglass and epoxy. And then advanced fluid handling. That's great. We add bearings and underground pipes, and that will get us these pieces. Okay. Now I'm a bit concerned because that one requires the three-way junction 1, which means I'm still going to have... Ugh, that's actually potentially a bad thing. Because then I'm still going to have three-way junctions available in my inventory. In any case, the flow rate on these guys is bigger and the max length is bigger, which is a nice thing. And the pressure's higher, which allows for filling tanks fuller, is the biggest idea with pressure. It looks like we get another concrete recipe here. Oh, I finished all my research anyway, so we should start with that. Reinforced concrete. Geez, 160% speed. Large tank 2, small tank 2, medium tank 2. So much more storage, which is great. Okay. I'm in for getting towards those things. I mean, what else have I even researched right now? I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention. I have new recipes for glass. Wow. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. I think I did more geothermals. So, yeah. I've got 5 here, 3 more. So I'm happy with my power for now. And I guess I can get rid of some of these things. So I don't really know what I want to do next. What should I be going for? I mean, let's see. Let's kind of look through our recipes and see what we've unlocked. Is there anything I want? Sometimes it's good to ask yourself what you want to figure out what you need to do. How's it going, Messageide? Welcome in. Happy Tuesday to you. Oh, I guess improving my steel. That could be the next thing. And then probably improving a lot of things could be the next thing, but actually titanium, we don't have any of that, so I could automate titanium. I could improve my steel. I could work on things like sodium or sodium sulfate. Those seem like the biggest things right now. I could work on the new plastic recipe, although I have enough plastic right now, so I'm not worried about that. So let's see if we can improve our steel. What's the big difference here? So steel ingot. Looks like there's eventually a third one too, but we don't have that yet. So if I start with 15 iron ingots, then the output is a significant amount more. And power is actually a significant amount more, which I'm not a fan of. But that's okay. And then we have to add in lime, and we get crushed limestone back. But lime comes from crushed limestone, does it not? Where is it? I know it's here. There it is, that recipe. We can also turn gypsum back into lime, and we can turn calcium chloride back into lime. That's good to know. So then, yeah, if we turn the limestone we get back out back into lime, then we only need a tiny bit of input lime and less oxygen. So that seems like a good deal. And we still get some output CO2, but not as much, which is fine. I don't use that CO2 for anything anyway. I think I'm just venting it. We get about the same amount of gravel, so that's not a significant difference. Yeah, I mean, then I can even put a yield and then maybe an efficiency to save some power. So we can get some more steel at the cost of some lime. Let's just make sure we throw that into Helmod here. We want you to be linked. So we just need some crushed limestone, which just means we need some limestone. And then that gives me some output stone. Now if I throw a haste in there, I can just use 2 of them. It's actually quite a bit of limestone, I feel like, per lime. It's more than I thought it would be. So maybe we put some yield in here. That saves me a smidge. Okay, so then most everything will be able to stay the same, right? Is it the same products? No, we also have limes. Gosh. My base is a nightmare. I need to refactor some things. Should I even just say goodbye to it? Should I just make a whole new base somewhere where I have giant patches of ore? I can just copy this entire logistics mall and then just make everything from scratch. Honestly, that sounds kind of fun. Should I do that? You know, I'm on the fence. That's actually not the worst idea I've ever had. Because there's nothing here that I can't easily copy over. You know, I might have to make a few trips with the car, bringing over materials. But I can easily copy my mall sections and then just paste all those down, and the bots will fix it all up. I'll have to transfer everything in storage, which is a bit of a pain. I could also just slowly transition everything upwards. So like add in new stuff and just keep working my way up and letting the storage network grab things from down here and eventually just delete things on the bottom. I like that idea better. That way we don't ever have to completely deconstruct everything. So I'm just going to keep extending hangars in this upwards direction. And then over time, that will allow for getting rid of all the old stuff. So that does mean we need, I feel like we need the ores all going past. Sandstone, limestone, iron, bauxite. I don't have a plan, though. Not having a plan is bad. All right, so improving steel is on the list, and then improving glass, I think, is also on the list. Because right now, let's just say we want 10 glass a second. Oh my goodness, that is an insane amount of foundries. Is this better? 5 seconds to make 6, 15 seconds to make 12. So it's slower. Yeah, that seems like it's intended only to make rutile. It seems like a worse way to get silica. Unless I'm missing something. 8 to 6, 15 to 12. That is a 4 to 3 ratio, and this is a 5 to 4. So this is a slightly higher amount of silica, but you need quite a bit of HCl and caustic. That doesn't seem worth it to me. And it's slower. 15 to 12 crafting time, whereas this is 5 to 6 crafting time. Anyway, all that to say, we need quite a bit of bauxite, or sandstone, per glass with the old recipe. With the new recipe, which is... Oh, I have 2 new recipes. I forgot about this one. This is the one I recently used. But we need soda ash, which is a bit tricky, but those things are all free. They just cost power. And then silica. And then lime. Oops. Oh wait, we recycle some lime. Matrix solve. That didn't work. What is going on here? Oh, we're not providing carbon dioxide. There we go. That's better. Okay, and then finally, I mean, you can already see how much better that is. Granted, I didn't fully put in all the buildings, but that's fine. I already built that anyway. And then the next glass is this one, soda lime 2. Now this one is probably going to be a lot better, I hope. So 10 glass requires sodium sulfate, which there are 2 ways to get. I think this way is the easiest. We need 10 sulfuric acid per each one either way, and I think it's easier to get sodium hydroxide than salt. Then we need soda ash. Is that a good recipe? 3 graphite, 4 sodium sulfate, 4 crushed limestone, 80 hydrochloric acid. Gosh, I have no idea if that's better or worse. Because you get all kinds of extra outputs. Sulfur dioxide, I mean, if we do that, we get some sulfur dioxide to put back into sulfuric acid, I guess. Because that's a 4 to 5 ratio. So we would actually get enough sulfur dioxide back from this. This is a very interesting interplay. I'll just start with the normal recipe, I guess. And then silica, and then lime, crushed limestone, crushed sandstone, also known as sand. Okay. And then alumina is a little interesting because we need bauxite. And caustic. Okay, so overall, ignoring the fluids, still cheaper and still less buildings. The fluids are more complicated, but it's less ammonia and brine, a lot less sandstone. Actually, more limestone and a tiny bit of bauxite. But then sulfuric acid comes from sulfur dioxide, water, and oxygen. Sulfur dioxide comes from a couple different things. Gypsum. Does this actually net sulfur dioxide? What did we say it was? A 4 to 5? Or no, can't even remember now. It's 2.5 more times. So that would give me back 100 sulfuric acid. So that's not great. So it looks like this soda ash version is actually the only other way to make sulfur dioxide, other than just the volcanic gas separation, which is what we're already doing. I have no idea. I don't need huge amounts of glass right now, so let's focus on something I can do, like concrete. Let's automate reinforced concrete to 3 per second, because I want to cover the world, maybe even 4 per second. How much is it ingredient in reinforced concrete? It goes in a few things. Underground pipe 4s, walls, wind turbine 3s. Okay. Yeah, we'll do 4 a second. That sounds reasonable. Maybe 5. This is still a pretty small number of buildings. And we will put yield modules everywhere. And let's just start throwing things in there. I already have all the steel, sand, cement, gravel, water, all that stuff. So this is the only new thing. And medium assembler 2 is the default. We need acrylic fibers, which needs acrylonitrile, which needs propene, oxygen, and ammonia. Propene needs a whole mess of things. I think what I'm going to start doing is barreling. Yeah, that's what I want to do. We're going to set up a big factory that produces all of the hydrocarbons. We're going to set it up over here, and we'll use belts to ferry barrels in and barrels out. That feels like a worthwhile use of my time. I discovered my purpose. Okay, so I know I need 1 million distilleries. I'm just going to put a few down and go fetch some more, because I'm probably going to need more than that. Stupid rocks. I hate those things. I hate the rocks. Okay, let's see. I guess I'll just let them deliver. Yeah, and then barrels. I should probably have 2 of these, to be honest. Oops. I didn't mean to unselect you. Empty barrel. Okay. And then, did we get our distilleries? Yeah. Okay, so the whole point of this is to produce propene, methane, ethylene, benzene, styrene. I mean, the works. In a way, what do you mean it won't fit? I'm just trying to move you up. In a way that will not run out. So ethylene and propene can just be cracked into methane, propene, ethylene, and benzene. So those 4 things. This one doesn't have any ethylene, propene. methane. So methane only comes after the first step. And then ethylene by itself specifically can be cracked into butadiene. And then that's it for the distillery ones. But then there's other ones in chemical plants. No, it just gets crazier. So we need propene in various places. So methane can also be produced directly. And ethylene, oh gosh, can come from methane. But ethylene can also come from propene. Huh. Whew, this is getting tricky. So if we want methane, or let's say propene. So if we want 100 propene, then we would need this. But the methane, oh, that turns into ethylene. Or methanol. So many options. This stuff is tricky. So then, how else could we get propene? Not that. Okay, that is the only way to get propene. So then we would want this method to directly want to create propene. Because it's the only way to make propene. But then methane, we can create with excess propene. Oh my gosh. But then we can also just make it out of CO2 and hydrogen. This gets so messy. Let's just, you know what? Let's say screw it. We'll just put our tanks out here and we'll just set it up and I don't even care. Space them out. Oh gosh. That is some deconstruction time right there. All right, hydrocarbons. Here we go. So step one, I do know that I need carbon monoxide for this. So carbon monoxide section, we'll need a few of these. There is only one way to get monoxide, right? Carbon monoxide. I mean, there's a lot of things that have it as an output, but intentionally creating it yeah, it's just a byproduct in a lot of things. Interestingly, benzene can be reformed back in to carbon monoxide, but you need steam to do that. That's so crazy. Or cellulose and nitrogen, but that's one of the organic. Oh yeah, that's all sorts of researches I don't have the ability to do. And then we can turn plastic into graphite. How crazy. Okay, but for now, this is all I get. So monoxide here. I will just leave space for beacons. And we'll connect everything like so. Okay. And so then we need dioxide, and that comes from distilleries. Doing air separation. How's it going, Vogon Poet? Welcome on in. Glad you could make it to the stream. We are currently just making a giant hydrocarbon factory so that whenever I need things like propene or ethylene or whatever the heck, I don't have to like recreate that every time. Okay, so we need a lot more dioxide than this. And I kind of want to just leave everything vertical so I can expand it if need be. And these each need 200. Each of these provides 150. So for 3 of these, we need 4 of these. That's right. Okay, so then I'll just line those up nicely, and we'll do this in chunks of 3. This mod is crazy good. I still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. There's so many different options for all of these chemical recipes, but we'll get there eventually. Okay, now all of this, that is a lot of nitrogen, but it should fit in one pipe still. Okay, and then we'll do efficiency on these. I think that's the best route. Also power, I gotta be careful not to connect this up. That's its own little power network for the solar. Okay, so we'll generate lots of nitrogen, residual gas, and other things. Residual gas needs to be piped over to a connection point. Where is the nearest residual gas line? I know I have it over here. I guess up here. This is it. So then we'll go to the right with this. Oh, that's nice. Just fits in perfectly with these other ones. Okay. So that'll connect up the residual gas. Like that. Perfect. And then nitrogen, there's a lot of it. And that will help make ammonia. But I don't necessarily need it all for ammonia. I should make ammonia with this factory too. So what I'll do, I ran out of tanks. So I should probably go get some because these are a different size. But I'll store up a ton of nitrogen in tanks. And then if I ever want surge power, I can easily just put a bunch of surge compressors on them and backup turbines. Because we're going to end up getting a lot of extra nitrogen this way. But yeah, we'll let the bots deliver me some large tanks. I probably should have more than 5. I'll do 8. Feels like a good number. I think they stack. Do they stack to more than 10? Oh, they stack to 20. Okay, we'll just do 10 then. Okay. Can stand off to the side and watch things get delivered to me. Normally that's how I know when to walk away, but we can't see the bots, so we have to use this view. Okay. That looks like most of it. Did I just rotate a belt? I know I just hit the R key. I hope I wasn't on a belt. That all looks like it's still working properly. Okay. Alright. So nitrogen tanks are next. And then we'll need lots of hydrogen. And then we'll also have a bunch of extra oxygen. And I'll only make the hydrogen that I need to make, of course. So I want to leave room vertically. I'll just do another few. There's all sorts of gases. Whoa. Alt-D. Okay. So we'll pump. The reason I'm using pump 2 is because once I get to the next tier of pipe, I think they can handle, I don't even know, but probably in the realm of like 1,500 units a second, maybe more, like 1,800. I don't actually know, but it's more than 1,200, that's for sure. Because red pipes alone can almost handle 1,200. Or they even can, depending on how many pipe sections you have. Let's connect this back. Okay. So that's nitrogen. For now, we'll just do simple overflow. Chimney. I actually need 2. Because those are 500 a second now, so that's 1,000. It doesn't have a recipe. Okay, so carbon dioxide. Check. Now, I do want this to be top up from the top to 40% pressure. And then that will allow me to make sure that if I get CO2 back from some of these processes, I can feed it back in. And that's a 1 to 3 that I need, probably more than one of those. And then hydrogen, we'll have to make that. So those need 320 dioxide. These are making 360. So then I need hydrogen. How much? 320 per second. So that can go back here. Some electrolyzers. And that's 840, so that'll be plenty. Probably a couple of the hydro plants. 270. Oh my gosh. Even just one of these is plenty. 340 water. That only needs 270 water. This will need, well, actually 4 wells. Okay. There's the 4 wells. We can just outfall down here. Do I still have those? Do I not? I think I don't. I know that that's wasting wastewater, but it's a very long pipe that I don't want to set up right now. So, I don't wanna, is the short answer. Okay, we'll make this a 1 to 3. Make sure these are powered. Connect that power. And there we go. Hydrogen and oxygen. So then the hydrogen connects up. Oxygen. And we'll have the hydrogen go across. Turn a corner there. And then the oxygen will come over to one of these tanks. We'll just have it come alongside the nitrogen. And then I guess I should have a hydrogen one of these too, shouldn't I? To make things like ammonia. Well, the hydrogen's only on demand. So we'll just connect that up to the same network. And then I need overflow set up for that too. Okay. So we've got that. Research is ready to go. Ooh, processors. That is the key to better modules. I'm in for that. That maybe should be my focus right now. That's still pretty far away. Stack inserters, robotics to tool making increases mining distance. Cybernetics can give me better inventory and more grid size. So that's cool. Okay. Is this, yeah, we're ready to go. Carbon monoxide, and then the water, right. We gotta connect the water back up. Forgot her about the water. So that's just needing to leave. And then be utilized in a priority fashion. So that'll just be a top up to 30. And we'll flush that out. Okay. So now we've got monoxide, and we can put all these in. Now that can handle 500 monoxide, which is way more than I'm making, so we'll just put 3 of these. And 540 hydrogen, which I can handle. Oh wait, can I? 540 plus 320, what is that? 860? That's 840, given that these aren't exactly the same amount, that should work. Because these only make 208, so these need to be sped up, to be honest. There, 228, that's a little better. Anyway, the hydrogen needs to be linked up. So we'll put that there, and then it will turn a corner to go down. And then we have the parallel 2-to-1 pipe to grounds. And then the monoxide needs to attach. To there. Okay. There we go. So now we've got our hydrocarbons. And there's still more that we want to do with things, but that's the basis of ethylene, propene, and benzene. And we're going to need lots of circuits and such. Because then I can also use the ethylene and propene, at least, to either make butadiene or more of the same things. Because propene makes methane and... Or sorry, propene makes ethylene and ethylene makes propene. So that part cycles, but we get more methane and benzene at each step. So if I need methane or benzene, then I want to run either of these. And I only want these to run if there's overflow of the first two. I think that works. So if I have like 2 here and 2 here, I think this will allow... So if I have excess ethylene and I need benzene or methane, because this also makes benzene and methane, but then it makes ethylene. So the propene and the ethylene kind of loop back and forth, which is very interesting. So like 160 ethylene makes 33 propene, which would make a third of that, so about 18-ish ethylene again. So it's a big loop with a net negative. So then we want to fill up either benzene or methane with that. Then I can also make butadiene. What all is that used for? Butadiene. A new plastic, both rubbers, and even... Oh, that's the same one. Okay, so we do need butadiene as well, which requires steam. Thankfully, we have boilers now. But butadiene is going to be something I care about. And that comes from ethylene as well. So really, everything comes from ethylene, right? Butadiene comes from ethylene, and methane comes from ethylene, and benzene comes from ethylene. So then basically we want the overflow on propene to come back here, which is 106. This doesn't produce anywhere near that much, so we're fine. Yeah, this is very tricky. So let's start with connecting these to something. Need more of those. Give me more, please. And now I can automate pipe 3s. Well, can, not easily. I can't do it. Okay, so benzene, propene, ethylene. Propene isn't used, right? No, it is. Benzene is the one I don't use. So benzene I should put at the top. So benzene can go up. I guess this can be moved up quite a bit. Here. Okay, there's benzene. Then propene and ethylene are pretty interchangeable, it feels like. Which is the one that's used for this? Ethylene. So I actually want to switch these. So that the two that use ethylene are right next to each other. So ethylene should be the lower one. So propene is this one. So we'll connect that up with the pump. There it is, propene, and this will be ethylene. Attached there. Okay. So those are those 3, and then we need some sort of top up on this. I guess, I don't actually know. Does a circuit condition use a different amount than a top up? No, we'll use top up on different parts. Because this is the core. We always need to use the core of what we're making. Yeah, so what am I doing? Okay, hold on. Propene. Okay, so ethylene is the main thing I want to use, which is this one. We'll have a main pump out. I'll probably need some sort of circuitry on that. And then we'll have a connection behind everything for, well, let me just connect it up for now. I'm sure I'm gonna jack up the circuits on this. So ethylene is used further down, just down here, to make methane and more benzene. So again, I'm sure we're going to need a million circuit conditions, but I'm going to have to solve that problem later. For now, I'll just do this. So those are ready to go. And then those have 3 outputs, of course. So we need to connect those up. Okay, so benzene, thankfully, benzene can just go all the way back up to the top. Right? Should I only run certain ones of these when I need benzene? Or should I just vent other things when I need benzene? These are the questions I don't know the answer to. I can always switch that if I need to, though. Okay, so benzene, and then we've got propene and methane. So methane's a new one. So methane needs to come over here, right? Methane's new? Yeah. Methane will be this one. We actually want to turn a corner here. So that's methane. And then propene, we need to make sure this gets attached. Is that the same? That is the same one. Convenient. So propene goes back in. So then that's going to use up all my ethylene to make methane, propene, and benzene. So yeah, we're almost certainly going to need a condition on running these two. I just don't know what it is yet. And then same for that. So I mean, with benzene, we almost certainly just want a top up. And with methane. And because these are attached to pumps on the other end, I want a top up for a very small amount. So then this will only run if we don't need more benzene or methane. Which might be the right thing to do, it might not. And then the other thing ethylene's used for is butadiene, which we always want to be full, because that's just a 1-to-1 creation, and we are going to need boilers, which unfortunately I haven't gotten yet. So the only other thing I can do is heat exchangers, is that right? Which I don't really want to have to deal with. Is there no other way to make steam? No, there's steam combustion. Yeah. We could just combust something. even just hydrogen and oxygen. How much steam are we talking? A decent amount. And a boiler needs... Oh gosh, this episode is getting long. We are not going to finish this build, but that's okay. Boiler needs ceramic powder. Is that something I'm close to being able to do? That needs boron, which I don't have, but I could, because boric acid is just from this. I could set all that up real quick. Is that worth it? I don't think so. Did I see that compressors had a recipe to make steam? No. Where did that come from? Oh, it's the research for compressors. Still made in a combustion chamber. Okay. Because I already have some of these. So I can just hook these up. So then I guess we actually want oxygen to be provided to this only if it's overflowing. Because we need some back for steam making. Now that can do more than enough per second. And hydrogen. Let's see, we need an extension. And then a corner. There we go. Oh, and we even get some productivity on it from the tier 2 building. Okay, so then we'll have a steam line coming down. Okay, so that way we get steam here. That should really turn. I don't want these to connect to each other. And this one is the ethylene. Yes, ethylene, which is this row. That's not the right type. We want the 1 to 3. Actually, I just want the 1 to 2. Like that, though. Up and right. Okay. So now that's making butadiene. And hydrogen, unfortunately. That's just another gas I have to deal with. But, these all are unique, so we'll cap them off. And the styrene gets connected up. Turns a corner. Comes up to here. Pump. Ta-da! There's butadiene. And then the hydrogen, we actually need to go back the other way. And that gets fed back into the systems that I've already put in place. Actually, right here is perfect. Because we have a top up on the hydrogen, I think. Did I do that? I did, yes. Perfect. Oh, we actually then need the top up. Maybe to be here. There we go. Okay. So, I think those are all hooked up. Now the problem is this is using up a bunch of ethylene we don't want to use. This should only run if we need methane specifically. So this should be a top up. And let's just top it up to 40% pressure. And then as soon as methane is full, we don't want this making methane anymore. And then if we have this one, if we have too much propene, we should send these all back in as well. Oh my gosh, this is so tricky. But are we ever gonna have too much? I just like, oh, this is so tricky. There's 5 different hydrocarbons that I'm trying to manage with 4 different recipes. I mean, this one's the simplest. So we need ethylene to be produced no matter what, because we want butadiene to be produced no matter what. And then ethylene comes from the original along with propene cracking back in. So if we have enough propene, then we can send that back to be used. I don't know if that's exactly how we want to do this, but it will work. So if we have the propene, we'll send that back down to here. And then it's only needed in one place, I guess. So we'll just put this here. These don't need to be two-way. Okay. And then connect that up. Okay, so then those will run. The benzene's connected back up. The methane is this one. And methane is on this track here. I'll move that topper-upper. Because we then need methane connections here. And then this one is more ethylene. Which should then be connected back to the ethylene train, which is this one. That one stops there. So it needs to come out to the 4th. Oh boy, this is crazy. And then this needs to... Oh shoot, that doesn't actually work. I guess this needs to go this way. Then we turn a little corner here. So now once I have enough propene, we'll start getting more of everything else. I'm sure this is going to break down somehow. But if we have too much propene, I guess it's going to break down at benzene actually. Because the way this is running, I think it's pretty good. If we have too much propene, that will overflow here. This is propene. Yep, that'll overflow. It'll run into these two. So that'll just get run. And then that will give me back methane, ethylene, and benzene. Now we need the methane. Ethylene shouldn't ever cap out unless we have plenty of butadiene. So if butadiene is capped out, well then that's good. And that means if propane's overflowing, then that'll be giving me more methane and ethylene. The ethylene won't be running because we won't need to. Although this one might be running, giving me more methane. So eventually once methane caps out, then these two will stop by default. And so we could run out of ethylene and propene, except we won't because this is giving us ethylene and propene. So benzene needs to go away if we have too much of it, is really the only thing I can think of. So avoid benzene if necessary. And then we also might need to do the thing where if we have too much propene, we void it, but we have this running back in to get rid of it. Oh, but then we'd have too much methane. So I guess the question is, should I just void a tiny bit of ethylene to sorry, if propene is full, but we need ethylene, then this will be like, hey, my propene's full, and let's ignore benzene. Then this won't produce. So should I just void a tiny bit of propene, or should I void the methane, actually? Because then voiding the methane would then allow room for the propene to be turned back into ethylene. And if you feel like I'm talking like a crazy person, don't worry. I do too. In any case, we've got a pretty good setup so far. There's a little bit of work left to do, but I'm going to have to call it an episode here. Crazy stuff. Definitely going to need some circuit conditions. I don't think it will be too bad. And then I also have to think about styrene. But styrene is just made from two things. So thankfully it doesn't have to feed back in. So I'll just use outputs from these. Ethylene and benzene. And that'll make styrene, and then that gives me a nice plastic recipe. And then acrylonitrile, well, we'll just have propene ready to go. And ammonia I can easily make as well. Up here, so I gotta put that in there. Ammonia. And then we also need to handle propene versus ethylene combat. Hydrocarbon combat. Because those two can't... One of those two needs a vent, at least, so that this will keep running. And other than that, I mean, this is all working pretty well. It just uses electricity and gives me all the stuff that I need. And then I'll be able to use barrels of those things, which is going to be very, very, very nice. And so then when I need 7.55 propene, I'll just request propene barrels. And I won't have to deal with this nonsense every single time. So I think this is a worthwhile endeavor, but definitely some investment and startup time to all this. It's also going to take a while for these tanks to fill up. Holy cow. Definitely going to want to try to make this a little faster. I might copy-paste this again. Because the real slowdown is the dioxide and monoxide part. So... Because, yeah, even these 3 distilleries aren't able to run full-time with this output. Alright, well, I'll call it an episode there, so thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you all next time.